Hi guys, you're welcome to Halogenous Ideas. In this video, let's talk about tuples. Okay, so tuple is one of the collections that we have in Python programming. Tuple, they are immutable but they are ordered. All right, they are immutable but they are ordered. Immutable in the sense that you cannot change them after creating them. You can only access the elements in them, but you can't make any modification whatsoever to a tuple when you create them. It is ordered in the sense that there is an order to all the placement of all the elements in the list, unlike sets that we are going to be talking about in the next video. There is no particular order of arrangement of placement of elements in sets, but in tuples there is an order. The same thing goes for the list. That is why you can index them. Okay, so let us start by creating a tuple. You create a tuple using parentheses. Okay, come here and you can say numbers equal to, you use this parenthesis. In the case of list, this is what you use, but in the case of tuples, you use parentheses. You can say 1 2 3 4 and 5. All right, so this is a tuple. I can come here to print numbers. If I should run this, you see I have 1 2 3 4 and 5. What if I print the type of numbers? If I run this, you see I'm having class tuple. Okay, so that is how to create a list of tuple. You can also create a list of tuple with mixed data types. All right, with mixed data types, you can say top 2 equal to. You can come here and do something like um, one hello 3.14 and maybe false. Okay, so you can create a tuple of different data types and it works just fine. You can print tuple top 2, save and run it. You see it is working just fine. For you to access the element in a tuple is the same way you access the element in your list. Okay, it's the same way, just you index the element and it will return the elements for you. For example, if I want to, an indexing starts from 0 like I said in my list video. So if I want to index this one, for example, I'll just index it as 0 and I run my program. You see I'm having 1. If you want to index this element, this last element over here, you can use the negative indexing and you run your code. You can see I'm having false. If I want to index this one, I can decide to use positive indexing or negative indexing. If I'm going to use positive indexing, this will be 2. If I run this, I'm getting 3.14. Negative indexing will be -1, -2 rather. If I run it, you see I'm still getting the same thing. So that is how you that is how you access the elements that you have in a tuple, just the same way you would in a list. So we also have tuple slicing. In the case of list, you can get a sublist, a portion of the list. The same thing, you can also do it in tuple to extract a portion of the tuple. Okay, the same way you can do positive slicing and negative slicing in list is the same way you can do it in tuple. For example, let me use numbers. Let me use numbers. If I want to slice from the beginning up to 3, so I'm going to be doing something like the beginning up to 0 1 2 and 3, because 3 will be exclusive, so I have to stop at 4. So clear my terminal, then okay, actually this is supposed to be 3. So run my code. You can see I'm having 1 2 and 3. All right, if I want to start at the first index, which is 2 and 3 only, if I run this, you see I'm having 2 and 3 only. If I want to index from 2 up to the end, I can take this one out and I run my code, you see, from 2 to the end. And if I want to use negative indexing, I can do something like -2, -2 down to the end. If I run this, you see I'm getting only 4 and 5, and -2 is this fourth element, this element over here. So and it will just index it up to the end. That is how you do slicing in tuples. this is the same way you do it in lists. All right. So we also have the immutable behavior of a tuple. Tuples are immutable, meaning that you cannot change their elements once it is defined. You cannot modify the elements in a tuple once it is defined. For example, um, take a good look at this tuple over here. For example, numbers. Okay, numbers. If I want to index the maybe third element, if I run this, you see I'm getting 4. Now let me try to change the element numbers indexing 3 equal to maybe 7. If I run this, you see I'm getting error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. All right, so you cannot modify a tuple. You cannot modify a tuple, but one thing that you can do is to convert it to a list. You do all your modifications in the list, then you bring it back to tuple. How can you do that? Very simple. So I can just come here and say numbers list equal to, I'll bring in my list constructor, then I'll pass in my numbers. Okay, so I'll come here and say numbers list 3 equal to 7. After converting it to 7, then I'll now bring it back to tuples. I'll now say numbers equal to the tuple constructor, then numbers list, and that is it. If I should run this, you see that I'm now getting 7. Okay, you see that I'm now getting 7. If I should, so that I can run everything, you see that initially I was having 1 2 3 4 5. Now I'm having 1 2 3 7 5. All right, so that is how you can modify your items if you have a tuple. One thing is that you use tuple in cases where uniqueness is important. Okay, where uniqueness is vital, that is where you use tuples. So if for one reason or the other you have to make modifications to your tuples, you convert it to a list first, do all your modifications, then make all your modifications rather, then you bring it back to tuples. So we also have some tuple methods. We have tuple methods. Let's talk about tuple methods. So they have fewer methods compared to the list. So I can do something like if I want to count the occurrences of 2 inside this numbers list, I can just say numbers dot count 2. Okay, you can see it is only giving me one occurrence. What if I add more twos here? 2 2 2. Run it, you see I'm getting 4 this time. All right, I'm getting 4 this time. So that is one of the methods of tuple. You can also find the first occurrence of the index of a particular element. For example, let me use 2 as well. Let me use 2. I can come here to do, instead of count, I'll say index. Then if I run this, you see it's giving me 1 because 2 is at the first index. What if I do 4? If I should look for the index of 4 and I run it. Now, the reason why it is giving me all the errors that I'm getting is simply because 4, if you remember vividly, we have used these lines of code that we have over here to modify this tuple such that if I want to print tuple, print these numbers, okay? If I want to print numbers and I run it, guess what? Let me clear my terminal. If I want to print numbers and I run it, I'm getting 1 2 3 7. Initially I was getting 4 5 2 2 2, but now I have 7, and these lines of code over here is what I used to modify it. Okay, so if I should try to look for the index of 4, 4 does not exist anymore. As at this point over, as at line 10, 4 doesn't exist anymore, so it will give me error. But if I come to look for 7 and I run it, you see that I'm getting 3 now. So that is it. So let's talk about tuple concatenation. So you can use the plus operator to concatenate two tuples together. Okay, let's just take a simple example of that. I can have something like even equal to a tuple, say 2 4 6, and odd equal to another tuple 1 3 5. I can come here and say all equal to even plus odd. Then after doing that, I can print all. If I should run this code, you see what I'm having over here. 2 4 6, which is the even and the odd basically. So you can also look for the length of a tuple. You can look for the length of a tuple. For example, len, or you use the len function. The len function generally in Python is used to look for the length of a collection. All right, the length of a collection. You can use it to look for the length of a string, the length of a tuple, the length of a list. All right. So run this. You see, I'm getting 6 over here. Let me clear my terminal so to be clearer. If I should run this, you see I'm getting 6, which is the length of all 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right. So there is this in operator, if you remember the membership operators, that you can use to check if an element exists in a collection, and in this case if an element exists in a tuple. So I can just come here and say 2 in the in operator even. This will be giving me true, you see, but 2 in odd will be giving me false. You see, it will be giving me false. So that is how you can check if an element exists in a tuple. Then finally, let's talk about the nested tuples. Okay, tuples can also be nested, creating more complex data structure. Something like this. You can have let me take this one out. You can have something like this. TUPS equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, then 2 comma 4 comma 5, then maybe 3 comma 4 comma 7. So come here and print tups. If I should run it, you see what I'm getting over here. So you can create even a nested tuple, and if you want to access element in a nested tuple, just like you would in a nested list, you are going to be using double indexing. Okay, double indexing. So for example, if I want to print the first element in this last one over here, I can just bring in my first index to index the whole of this list, which I can decide to use -1 because it's the last element over there anyway. Then after this one, I'll just come here and do something like if I want to index the first element here, just 0. If I should run this, you see I'm getting 3. If I want to index the first element in this first tuple over here, I can just use 0 instead here, 0. And if I run this, you see I'm getting 1, so it is working just fine. So that is double indexing for you. That is double indexing for you. So that is how you can create a nested tuple and how you can access the elements in a nested tuple. So Python tuples are useful when you need an immutable order collection of elements, and understanding this concept will help you effectively use tuples in your Python code. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like the video, drop your comments, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Okay. So if you have any questions, the comment section is open, and yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.